Beneath the silent heavens, where fate coils like a hidden dragon and the winds carry whispers of forgotten vows, the path of cultivation grows ever more treacherous. In the last moments we witnessed, the balance between life and death trembled on a razor's edge, and Wang Lin stood at the crossroads of power and annihilation, his resolve unyielding, yet the storm before him only deepening. Enemies gather in the shadows, ancient forces stir, and the price of defiance weighs heavier than ever. Each step forward risks awakening forces that even the heavens dare not provoke. Now, in recap, Renegade Immortal 736, 737, the tension sharpens like a drawn blade. What choices will shape destiny? What hidden truths will emerge from the abyss? As the legend unfolds, steel your heart, for the next chapter begins where fear and determination collide. Before the gate of thunder ever opened, something impossible had already crossed it. In the boundless darkness, cultivators drifted like scattered embers, each drawn forward by the pull of their own thunder furnace. They could not see one another. Distance stretched endlessly between them, unless they hailed from the same cultivation planet. Around them, there was nothing but silence and a suffocating void. Only the faint glow of their own bodies proved they still existed. Then, a streak of lightning tore through the darkness. It came like a falling star, but far more terrifying. A bolt of thunder roared across the void, its sound shaking the very air, its speed so extreme it defied comprehension. In a blink, it passed several cultivators, its weight causing their protective light to flicker violently, as though it might vanish at any moment. Those cultivators, bound by shared origin, froze in place. Their eyes widened as they strained to look into the distance, but all they caught was a fleeting flash before it vanished completely. What remained was silence and fear. What was that? One of them whispered, his voice trembling. Inside that streak of thunder, inside that unstoppable force, was Wang Lin. The speed crushed him like an invisible mountain. His eyes could not open, his body felt as if it were being torn apart and reassembled with every passing instant. Something churned within him, restless and violent, as though his very flesh had been hollowed into countless indentations. He did not dare release his divine sense. At such speed, even a moment of carelessness would mean disaster. The instant his divine sense expanded, it would reach its limit and be severed by the velocity, damaging his origin soul beyond repair, so he endured. The thunder carried him forward like a weapon unleashed by the heavens themselves. Across the path leading to the thunder celestial realm, cultivators who were arriving for the first time were filled with anticipation until they saw it, that terrifying meteor of lightning. Their excitement vanished instantly, replaced by shock so deep they forgot where they were. Even the most composed among them, those who rarely revealed emotion, could not hide their astonishment. Veterans who had made this journey before were no better. Though they had seen much, this sight still shook them. None dared to probe it with divine sense. Even if they tried, they could not lock onto it. So a single question began to echo in every heart. What was inside that thunder? And yet, before any answer could form, the end of the path revealed itself. There, at the edge of the void, stood the gate to the thunder celestial realm. It was not a gate in the ordinary sense. It was a colossal bolt of thunder, dark red in color, vast beyond imagination. It stretched across the void like a river of lightning, one end emerging from nothingness, the other disappearing into the unknown. Yet despite its immense power, it felt lifeless, like a corpse of thunder. Legends whispered throughout the All-Heaven Star system spoke of its origin. Once, there had been no gate. The thunder celestial realm itself had been a boundless sea of lightning, needing no entrance. But when the celestial realm collapsed, the souls of countless celestials fused together, forming this dark, red thunderbolt. And thus, a gate was born from ruin. Beneath this gate, several cultivators already sat cross-legged, waiting in silence. Among them was Shenggong Hu. Messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple were present, alongside rare lone cultivators, figures who walked the path without the backing of great families. In a system dominated by clans, such individuals were few, but each one was formidable beyond measure. No one spoke. They meditated quietly, eyes closed, unwilling to disturb one another. From time to time, new arrivals appeared, guided by their thunder furnaces. Most of the early arrivals were those who had already stepped into the second stage of cultivation. Occasionally, acquaintances would exchange brief greetings before settling down once more. Beside Shengonghu sat a pale-faced man in blue. His complexion was devoid of color, his gaze cold as frost. After a long silence, he spoke, his tone carrying a strange edge. "I heard," he said slowly, "that the once proud Shengonghu has taken a master. I didn't believe it. But seeing that your Tao soul is incomplete, it seems the rumors are true." He paused, then let out a faint, mocking sigh. "What a pity, truly a pity." Shengonghu turned his gaze toward him, calm and unshaken. "A man with shallow vision," he replied coldly, "can never grasp the ambition of one who sees far. A narrow mind cannot comprehend the thoughts of one who walks a greater path." His eyes hardened slightly. "Tang Yangfeng, you are not me." Tang Yangfeng's expression darkened. A cold smile crept across his lips. "Then I shall see what kind of great intellect you possess." Shengonghu said nothing further. For 20 years, pressure had weighed heavily upon him, from his family, and from the Thunder Celestial Temple itself, all because he had chosen to pledge himself to Wang Lin. His family had rebuked him, condemning his decision as reckless. Though he held the title of messenger, he could not defy the elders, and the Thunder Celestial Temple. Though they spoke no open words, their distance was clear. He should not have been here. With his talent, he should have entered through the main path alongside the elite messengers. Instead, he had been cast among lesser-ranked envoys, yet Shengonghu felt no regret, only pride. In his heart, he believed firmly that his choice had been right. No, it had been the greatest decision of his life. Even the head elder remains trapped at the Nirvana cleanser stage, he thought, his eyes gleaming with conviction. As for the legendary third step, they have never even glimpsed it. His fists tightened slightly. What right do they have to guide me? Tang Yangfeng sneered silently, watching him. Once, Shengonghu had been the brightest of their generation, the first to become a messenger. And now, because of one decision, he had fallen into such a state. Then, the void trembled. A blinding light appeared in the distance. A thunderous roar followed, surging forward like a raging storm. Every cultivator opened their eyes. Tang Yangfeng looked up sharply. The light grew brighter, faster, closer. It came like a force of nature, unstoppable and overwhelming. Many powerful cultivators immediately extended their divine senses, attempting to grasp the truth within that meteor of thunder. But it was useless. Before their senses could even lock onto it, the meteor had already arrived. Its speed was madness, its presence terrifying. And then it did not slow, it did not stop. Instead, it accelerated. Before the stunned eyes of all present, the thunder streak shot past them and charged directly toward the gate, straight toward the dark red bolt of thunder. A deafening rumble erupted. The meteor struck the gate and vanished into it. Silence fell like a blade. "It entered?" someone whispered, utterly stunned. All around, cultivators rose to their feet, eyes locked onto the gate. This had never happened. No one had ever entered before the gate opened. Tang Yangfeng's mind reeled. "What is this?" he muttered. "Could it be that one can enter before it opens?" The thought spread like wildfire, but fear held them back. All except one. A cultivator stepped forward, his body flickering as a clone emerged from behind him. Without hesitation, he sent the clone toward the gate. All eyes followed. The clone touched the dark red thunder and instantly trembled. Then it collapsed into nothingness. At the same time, a streak of red lightning shot out from the gate, heading straight for the cultivator. His face turned pale. Though he was at the illusory yin stage, terror gripped his heart. He turned and fled, but the thunder pursued relentlessly. In an instant, it struck him. It entered his body, coursed through him completely, and then exited, returning to the gate. The cultivator froze. Then, his body shattered, his origin soul disintegrated. Even his belongings turned to dust, gone, without a trace. Silence descended once more. No one dared to speak. But in that silence, Shengonghu lowered his head. His eyes burned with shock and boundless excitement. Through the fragment of his Tao soul, he had felt it, a familiar aura. "My lord," he thought, his heart pounding. I was not wrong. His breathing quickened. To command thunder of such magnitude, to enter the realm before the gate even opens. He clenched his fists. This level of power, it is beyond belief. Far away within a fragment of the unopened thunder celestial realm, a lone peak stood, surrounded by countless bolts of lightning. Upon it stood an old man. His white hair danced in the storm, his robes fluttering as he stood with hands behind his back, lost in thought. Then he paused, his gaze turned toward the distance. A faint smile appeared. Interesting. With that single word, the wind surged. His body dissolved into countless golden specks, scattering into the air. And in that moment of disappearance, there lingered a faint, unmistakable aura, the aura of returning to the origin. Before the heavens could calm their rage, before thought itself could form, a streak of thunder, wild as a celestial beast, tore through the void. And at its heart, Wang Lin was dragged into a realm where even lightning had a will of its own. The moment that meteor-like thunder collided with the dark crimson bolt, everything spiraled into madness. The violent energy within it surged without restraint, multiplying several times over in an instant until it reached a level so terrifying it defied reason. Like a berserk dragon, the thunder plunged straight into Wang Lin's body. In less than a breath, his entire being was seized. His flesh went numb, his origin soul completely sealed. There was no time to think, no chance to react. It was as if an unseen force had cast a supreme immobilization technique upon him. His body froze mid-motion, powerless, as the raging thunderstorm swallowed him whole. And then, he was gone, pulled into the thunder celestial realm. Everything happened too fast. The thunder surrounding him didn't merely fall. It crashed downward like a collapsing mountain, faster than any falling stone, roaring as it carried him through the sky. Then, with unstoppable force, it smashed into a shattered fragment of the celestial realm. The impact was cataclysmic. The meteor-like thunder tore through the air and struck the ground, causing the entire fragment to tremble violently. A massive storm of dust exploded outward, swallowing everything in sight. Visibility shrank to less than 30 feet as the world was drowned in chaos. The earth roared. It shook like a slumbering dragon twisting beneath the soil, threatening to break free. Only after a long time did the dust begin to settle, and the trembling finally cease. What remained was silence, and a single, gaping crater in the eastern region of the fragment. Proof that what had just occurred was no illusion. From within the pit, faint green smoke curled upward, drifting away with the wind. Deep below, scorched earth still crackled with residual thunder. The crater was vast, its depth immeasurable. At the very bottom, Wang Lin lay motionless. Blood seeped from his eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. His body was riddled with injuries, broken and battered from the violent descent. He looked like a man on the edge of death. Pitiful, fragile. Though the Thunder Celestial Realm was more stable than the Rain Celestial Realm, it was still teetering on the brink of collapse. The difference between the two was like 50 steps versus 100, a difference that seemed large, yet, in the grand scheme of ruin, meant very little. And now, after enduring the devastating force of that thunderous descent, this already unstable fragment had grown even more fragile. Not long after Wang Lin's impact, the edges of the crater began to crumble. Low, muffled rumbles echoed as chunks of earth collapsed inward. Dust filled the air once more, burying everything beneath layers of ruin. When it was nothing left, no crater, no trace, just broken land, as if Wang Lin had never existed. But at that very moment, the air shimmered. A white-haired old man appeared, as though stepping out from the void itself. He stood where the crater once was, hands behind his back, his gaze directed toward the ground. A faint smile curved his lips. "I have lived for countless years," he murmured softly. "Yet this is the first time I've seen someone so eager, so greedy, to force their way into the Thunder Celestial Realm ahead of time." Then his expression changed. "Eh?" His eyes narrowed slightly as he looked closer. After a moment, he muttered with intrigue. "This little fellow? His origin soul emits such intense thunder pressure. Even his body carries the essence of lightning. What a strange existence. Is he human, or something else entirely?" He paused, his gaze deepening. If this continues, he will eventually become a thunder spirit. Then his eyes flickered with interest. But where he landed, now that is quite interesting. The old man chuckled softly. "Since this old man has seen you, it means we are fated." He raised his right hand and gently pressed it toward the ground. A ripple of light spread instantly across the earth, vanishing just as quickly as it appeared. And then, the old man's figure flickered, gone without a trace. He had encountered many who were fated with him over the years. Yet, without exception, all of them had met miserable ends. Time passed. Far beneath the earth, in suffocating darkness, Wang Lin's eyes slowly opened. Pain surged through every inch of his body, sharp and relentless. Even his origin soul felt sluggish, as though weighed down by unseen chains. A bitter smile appeared on his lips as he glanced around. He was inside what seemed to be a collapsed stone chamber. Loose soil trickled down from above, falling in soft, quiet streams. Gritting his teeth, Wang Lin struggled to sit up. Then, without hesitation, he closed his eyes and began to cultivate. Slowly, carefully, he circulated his origin soul. And soon, he discovered it, a trace of foreign thunder, hidden deep within him. It did not belong to him. It clashed with his own power, disrupting the flow of his origin soul and preventing it from functioning properly. The underground world remained utterly silent, no sound, no movement, only Wang Lin, immersed in cultivation. At some point, his celestial guard emerged silently from his shadow. It sat across from him, unmoving, standing watch like an unyielding sentinel. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. When Wang Lin finally opened his eyes again, he exhaled a long breath of foul air. Within that breath, a faint thread of thunder dissipated. "I cannot take such risks again," he muttered quietly. "If that foreign thunder had been any stronger, I wouldn't have been able to expel it so quickly." With the obstruction removed, his origin soul began to recover. His injuries started to heal. Though his body remained damaged, it no longer hindered his cultivation. Raising his head, Wang Lin looked toward the earth above him. Then, he stepped forward. Without hesitation, he surged upward, turning into a streak of light as he charged straight toward the surface. "Since I've entered the Thunder Celestial Realm," he murmured, "I must see for myself how it differs from the Rain Celestial Realm." But just as he was about to break through, a flash of light erupted from the soil above. Boom! It was as if he had slammed into an iron wall. A thunderous impact echoed as he was violently rebounded backward. Landing heavily on the ground, Wang Lin staggered several steps back. His eyes widened in shock. "This!" He stared at the earth above, his voice filled with disbelief. "This soil contains origin energy?" Taking a deep breath, lightning flickered within his gaze as he examined it more closely. Then his expression darkened. "This is not naturally formed origin energy. It's the result of a spell." A cold glint flashed in his eyes. "Someone does not want me to leave." Though he had been disoriented during his fall, Wang Lin still retained a vague awareness of his surroundings. Normally, no matter how hard the ground was, it would not be able to block his techniques. But now, everything had changed. Was this the work of a cultivator, or a mutation caused by the violent celestial thunder? He wondered. After a moment of thought, his mind moved. The celestial guard immediately shot forward, testing the surroundings in multiple directions, but the result was the same everywhere. Every path was sealed. Except one, straight ahead. Wang Lin's face grew even colder. Now he was certain. This was no accident. Someone had seen him and imprisoned him here. They had deliberately left him only a single path. A silent, arrogant message. If you wish to move, then go forward. Wang Lin fell into deep thought. He had spent days recovering and had no idea whether the Thunder Celestial Realm had fully opened, nor could he identify the person who had cast this spell. Whoever this is, to seal off part of a celestial realm so easily, their cultivation must be extraordinary. His eyes flickered with contemplation. But what is their purpose? If they meant to harm me, they could have acted directly. His gaze suddenly sharpened. He turned toward the tunnel carved by his celestial guard. Enough. There is no point remaining here. A cold resolve filled his eyes. Let me see what lies ahead. He slapped his storage bag. A golden celestial brush appeared in his hand. At the same time, a thin streak of red light seeped from the crack between his brows, giving him an almost demonic aura. His hand formed a seal. A celestial wind surged forth, sweeping away the soil before him and revealing a narrow passage. Wang Lin's divine sense spread outward. Before him lay countless twisting tunnels, extending endlessly into the unknown. Even when he extended his divine sense to its limit, he could not find the end. After a brief pause, Wang Lin moved. He shot forward like lightning, his divine sense probing constantly, searching for any possible exit. As he advanced through the maze-like tunnels, he attempted to break through at various points, but every section of Earth was reinforced by the same spell. Escape was impossible. As he continued moving, his eyes suddenly narrowed. He had found something. At a fork ahead, an exit. Without hesitation, Wang Lin accelerated toward it, but as he drew closer, a strange feeling crept into his mind. Too easy. He slowed slightly, suspicion rising within him. Could this really be natural, or is it part of the spell? Just then, the exit flashed, and in the next instant, it vanished. Wang Lin stopped abruptly, his expression turning grim. After a moment of silence, he let out a cold snort and continued forward. Reaching where the exit had been, he carefully observed the area for a long time. Then, without a word, he turned around and headed toward the other path. His divine sense spread even wider, meticulously scanning every tunnel. Half an hour later, another exit appeared. A faint gray light filtered through it, clearly leading to the surface. This time, Wang Lin did not hesitate. He rushed forward at full speed. Though he could not teleport, his movement was still incredibly fast. Soon, he was within 100 feet of the exit. He surged forward, but at that exact moment, the exit flashed with white light and disappeared. Once again, he had missed it. Wang Lin clenched his fist, his expression dark as storm clouds. Slowly, he raised his head, as if his gaze could pierce through layers of earth and reach the sky above. After several deep breaths, he turned and walked away. This place is definitely the result of a spell. As he moved through the endless tunnels, his earlier agitation began to fade. Calm returned. Those exits were being controlled. They were shown to him, only to be taken away. If he allowed frustration to take hold, he would never escape. Far away, in another part of the Thunder Celestial realm, the white-haired old man stood with his hands behind his back, watching silently. A faint smile lingered on his lips. It has been a long time since someone fated with this old man has appeared. If this junior can escape within 7 days, then perhaps his fate runs even deeper. His eyes gleamed with anticipation. I truly hope he can succeed. There are many, very interesting places in this realm, perfect for someone like him. 3 more days passed. Deep underground, Wang Lin moved like a streak of lightning. His divine sense constantly spread. Every half hour, he would detect an exit. But this time, he never approached them. Instead, he continued along his own path. For 3 full days, he traversed every tunnel within this underground labyrinth. Gradually, a complete map formed within his mind. And at last, he discovered the method to escape.